All right, new video. Okay. This one is going to be on SMTs. This is going to be hopefully another short and sweet one for you boys, but I don't even know what episode we're on at this point. But I'm just trying to get all my knowledge out and into these videos, so I can see that all my knowledge is just put exactly where I can reread it and hopefully improve on it later. But just going to get all my knowledge out onto these recordings, and then we can establish looking back at them later. But really, SMTs should not be crazy hard for us to explain. Let's hop on over here to the blank screen, and let's kind of draw it out for you guys. Let's kind of get these drawings of these candles that you guys are so used to now put on the screen. Let's do it. Get bang. Use this. Make a wick. It's gonna be a little retarded. There we go. Yeah, boom. It's gonna be a little weird, a little off-centered, but it is what it is. An SMT, what exactly are we looking at? Let me get it paused until I make it. Okay, fuck the candles. I'm not drawing those. Let's just do lines. That's the easiest way for me. Okay, we're looking at what is an SMT. We are going to be pretending that this one over here on the left is going to be NASDAQ. This is going to be the NASDAQ pair. We're going to pretend that this one on the right is going to be ES. And we can just draw a line in between them like this. That's how we're going to separate them. What do we see about these two retarded drawings that don't look very good? We can see that one of them has a low. If we're counting these lines as lows in the market, it's kind of hard to understand because we haven't used lines. I've used candles before, but just pretend these are candles with lows, and hopefully you can picture that in your head. But you can see that this one comes down on this side, and it makes a lower low than this side over here, this side right here. And we can see that this one makes a higher high, or higher low than this one on the other side here. And what is that called? That is called a SMT divergence. And that is a divergence between two pairs that are correlated together. So what do we have? We have the NASDAQ, which is compiled of all the top 100 tech stocks in the market at the current moment. And then we have ES, which I think is like the top 500, maybe American companies, or it might be tech stocks too. I have no idea. I just look at the candlesticks and perform based off of those. But they have some, I believe, of the same stocks in them because they have the stocks are correlated between what is the highest earners and what's actually at the top performing and moving these markets. So you probably have like Apple, Nvidia, you have like all these crazy big other stocks that don't come to my head right now. Probably like I couldn't tell you. Google, just ones that come to the top of my head at the moment. You're going to see those ones in both of these indexes probably. And what does that mean? That means that if one person is buying on Nvidia, that means the Nasdaq and ES is probably going to go up at the same time. But however, because one of them has 100 indexes and the other one has 500, sometimes the price can be a little different, and we can know based off of that difference, that little difference in price, if one of them is going lower and the other one's still up a little bit, but it's about to come down and hit that, we can know that that is going to be a telltale of the future of the other index. Hopefully, that is what we plan to use SMTs for. Generally, I believe. Basically, an SMT can almost predict a low in the market or a reversal change, like a change in the market. So we can look at these SMTs and we can think, if we see that this one comes down and sweeps out this low, and then this one doesn't come out and sweep out this low, but then it starts moving higher, what can we expect from NASDAQ as the lagging pair in this case? Because we are we just completed this or we're not completed. I'll talk about when SMTs are completed really, but we are starting to form this SMT divergence that is showing us that NASDAQ is like a little bit lower, but then ES is moving higher. What can we expect from NASDAQ that is lagging behind in this case of moving higher and making higher candles within the market, we can expect that this one would probably follow suit. Maybe. It's a potential. This is the whole thing. This is showing us the market's hand, really, in the market. We're seeing the future of what could happen with NASDAQ between these price imbalances. We don't know which stock it is, we don't know which one they're buying, but generally it is the imbalance in price between the two of them that can tell what the other index is going to do. We just talked about when a SMT is completed. How can we know when an SMT is completed? Well, it'll be as soon as this candle that is like coming up here performs, or not performs. What am I saying, bro? Pushes above the most recent high that we've made in the market. That would confirm an SMT is completed within the market, and we can use this as sometimes exit points. We can use this as sometimes as you know, shows that a trend might reverse at that certain moment or at that certain point in time. We can see that if a ES comes up and sweeps out this high, however, NASDAQ comes up and, sorry, it's a little close to this line. I might have to just delete this line real quick. NASDAQ comes up and does not, or barely just doesn't hit this, but then it starts forming down candles. We can see that this would be another SMT divergence at this high. We'd see that, maybe NASDAQ doesn't want to take out this high yet, and it wants to stay below it, and it starts printing bearish candles while ES is still printing higher. We can see this as an imbalance, and we can see that, ES might start to react off of this high, and we can see that, hey, maybe I'm in a long right here on NASDAQ, and I'm thinking, oh shit, ES has already taken out that high. However, I'm still in this trade on NASDAQ, and I'm starting to see these candles go down. Maybe I should think about closing my position because we could have a potential SMT right here where market's going to react. And we're seeing that this bearish pressure is kicking in because we already swept out this high on this other index. And this imbalance in price is causing us to move lower on the other index. And we can almost assume that we might want to start moving down lower on ES after that moment. That's basically what a SMT is explained. Hopefully that was not too challenging, but we can see SMTs just like any other confluences on every single time frame. And, it might be a little hard for me to spot it. Holy drawings. Just at the moment. But let me see if I can find you guys one right here on the 4 hour. Let me take a look. I'm trying to find one that sticks out really, really easily for you guys. Let me pause it. I'll come right back. All right, okay, boom. I found one. It was standing out right in my face. It just was a little hard to see because it's very subtle. But if we scroll in right here, we can see that if we use our candlestick trick that we were taught on one of the first days to hover over the candle and press into it, we can see that the high of this candle, we're using the wicks of the candles for SMTs. We are going to see that the high represents 29,126.25. And this candle over here that we're looking at, just scrolled 2 candles left, we are seeing that candle is 29,125.25. So that candle is one whole, point. I don't know what to call it again, but it is one whole unit of measurement less than what this candle's high is right over here on this blue candle. So if we scroll over to our other index, ES or S&P 500 right here, we can see that if we line up these same 2 candles, the Tuesday 19th of May 2026 10 a.m. candle, you can see that this is the same candle on this index right here at 10 a.m. Tuesday 19th of May 2026 10 a.m. Right down here at the bottom, you can see just below my cursor there, that crosshair, that is the day. We can see that if we go two candles left to that, to Tuesday 19th of May at 2 a.m., we can see that this candle's high is much higher than this candle's high right here. And I like to use this tool right here. If you have the magnet on, it can snap on to the candle that you're on, and then it can snap onto the other candle's high, and you can kind of differentiate, the SMT by seeing, is this one higher or is this one lower? And it'll show you very clearly in the market where your SMTs are really. But if you look at this candle's high, you can see just visually looking at it, that this candle piece right here is slanted downwards. And then if we look on this one right over here, we can see that this black piece that we drew on to the candle's wicks is slanted upwards. So you're always going to have one candle or one piece that is slanted upwards, and then you're going to have the other one that's slanted like that. That is how you're going to differentiate a SMT. You're going to see that one of the candle's wicks comes up to here, and one of the other candle's wicks comes up to here. Then you're going to see that the candle's wicks comes up to here, and then one of the other candle wicks comes up to here. Kind of looks like a one of those modern homes that has like one of those triangle roofs, really, but I don't know, whatever will help you guys remember this, but that's kind of how I look at the market. You can see you can draw like a right angle triangle basically from it. It's just kind of how I remember it, but all you really need is just this one line right here, and you just need to see on one index that the line is slanted like this, and then the line is slanted like that on the other index, and it just has to be that way because the how the candlesticks line up basically, or how the candlestick wicks line up. What can I do? I can go down to the 1 hour and show you guys what is going on the 1 hour. So if we have maybe an SMT that'll stick out right here as well. Take a look. Hold on. Some of these are going to be really subtle on these higher time frames to find because they don't happen as often, but it's just harder to find. Is this one lower? Yeah, this one is. So you can see that we have a SMT right here. Or maybe this is equal lows. 356, 356. Yep, equal lows. So no, we don't have an SMT right there. I don't like to use equal lows for SMTs, but I know some people might consider them. I just consider them equal lows, and then they're higher resistant or higher easier draws on liquidity, I guess. I'll find you guys in 2 seconds when I find one on the hourly. It's just going to take me a minute. Okay, boom, literally 2 seconds later, found one just right over here. It is a SMT from this high up to this high from Friday, 15th of May, 2026 at 3 a.m. to the 15th of May at 1400, which is 2 p.m. And we can see that the bar is slanted to the upside on NQ, and it is slanted to the downside on ES. Why is that? Because this high over here, this one right here, is lower than this high right over here. And then we have this high that's the same time is higher than this high over here that we marked out. So we can see this is an SMT divergence. Okay, and then what was I talking about? I was talking about us and how we can see that a SMT is ultimately completed. And what do we have to do? We have to look at the SMT that gets formed on the candle that is like closest to the most recent in price. So if we see that this candle right here is the most recent in price or closest to the most recent candles being printed in price, and we can see that this candle, we need to line up a low that is associated with that candle. So if we see that is not a low right there because it's not a black candle, we can see this low is associated with this candle. It is the low that is attached to the move up that caused this SMT. So we can see that all these blue candles caused this move up into this SMT being formed right here. And we can see that this low down here was the low that was put in before we had the bullish candles get put in for this SMT right here. So we had these two bullish candles on here. We had a lot more bullish candles on here. On this index, which is the lagging index, we wouldn't care about it. We would care about the leading index because this one is closer to the downside. This one is showing us that we are going to reverse off of taking out this high on ES, but not want to take it out on NQ. And we can see that because this one is lower down and it is the one that did not take out the high, it ends up reaching down to these lows faster than the other index did. And this one takes a little bit more time. It takes some more candles to do so. And then it finally comes down and takes out these lows down here that it wanted to. Anyways, with the low that's attached to it here, as soon as we come down and we close underneath that low on this candlestick right here, we have officially completed the SMT, or I guess take out the low on this candle right here. We've completed the SMT, and we can see that price wanted to come down and take out that low, basically. Once that is completed, this SMT is no longer valid to show us that we want to go lower anymore. When we had this SMT and we saw these reactions to the downside, we are going to use that as just one of our confluences to say, that was a good indication that we wanted to dip down lower on this low. Or if we were in a long position down here and we saw long opportunities up to these highs, we would say, if we were in there on ES and we started to see these reactions to the downside, we'd say, maybe it's time to pull out of the market, or maybe it's time to, cut it short because we know that the other index has already taken it. NASDAQ has already taken the high that we want. So we can see that it gets completed down here. No longer is a valid SMT anymore, and we can disregard it and just be away with it. We can see these SMTs being formed in real time, and we need to get very good at identifying when these SMTs are forming, because they can tell us for either exit points for our our actual trades that we're taking, or they can be a good indication of where price is actually going to want to reverse and start a new trend in a different direction. So that explained it decently. Hopefully you guys understood it. I'll go back and watch it and add to it if I need to. But peace. We'll see you guys in the literal next one.